Hello, excuse the poor audio quality as I am recording this from my phone, and I'm also sick. But today we are going to be looking at what I think is the worst bully-related creepypasta ever, which is saying a lot due to there being almost none bully creepypastas. This one is called Petey Suicide, and it was made in 2014. Okay, before we get into this, trigger warning for topics relating to suicide and other topics relating to that. And I'm pretty sure this has a OC in it because this was just found on the deepest, darkest corners of the internet. It all started when I was 13 years old. This is long before I knew about creepypastas or was really interested in gaming, period. But for some reason, I loved the game Bully. If you've never heard of it, it's a game about a teenage boy named Jimmy who is taking over the cliques in his new private school. I think I liked it the most because of the closest thing to Grand Theft Auto my mom would let me play. So I think all it was when my interest in gaming and creepypastas started. Why creepypastas, you ask? Allow me to explain. It had only been a few months since I had beaten the main storyline, which isn't much now, but to an 11-year-old who just started gaming, it was like completing a life goal. But my friends and I were sitting at lunch talking about our favorite video games, and I brought up Bully, and my friend Drake said he'd never play the game. It was a Friday, so I invited him over to play the game. It was about 9 p.m. By the time me and Drake finally turned on the PS3 and started playing Bully, while in the middle of us throwing firecrackers at jocks, the game cut to an update screen. This seemed a bit odd, the both of us, because Bully was a fairly old game, so at first we thought it just meant patching a few glitches. Once the update was finally installed, it restarted the game and played normally. When we went to the map, it showed a star, which meant a new mission was available. Drake and I thought this meant a DLC was installed. We were very wrong. The star was in the boys' dorm, so we headed there and watched the first cutscene. It started with Petey. Petey starts out as a minor character to the game, and everyone seems to make fun of him, including Jimmy, who's supposed to be his best friend. He was getting either bullied or scolded by random people from all the cliques. It had no audio. We just saw their angry faces and Petey looking very sad. This freaked me and Drake out because of Petey's face. Petey was my favorite character throughout the game, and I felt bad for him. It was like everybody hated him for no true reason. After the cutscene ended, we were in a boiler room in the school basement. We began to hear a boy crying, so I moved Jimmy towards the room with the furnace. When we entered the room, another cutscene began. Okay, trigger warning for suicide. All it showed was Petey crying, standing on a chair with a noose around his neck, and he was whispering that he'd make them pay. After that, he kicked the chair from under him and hung himself. The screen cut to black. Drake and I sat there shocked. We played the scene in our heads over and over again. When the screen cut back on Jimmy, he was waking up from his bed. We thought maybe it was a nightmare until we saw the newspaper on the bulletin board, reading, "Boy hangs himself in school boiler room." We couldn't believe what was happening. Why did this update give us this strange DLC? We walked out of Jimmy's room to notice everyone was missing. There should have been nerds and bullies in the boys' dorm, but they were all missing. We traveled to the rest of the town to see if maybe there was more to the disappearance of everyone. The sky was dark and gloomy, and everyone else was missing except Petey. Drake and I began to wonder what was happening. Did Petey kill the whole town? Did he make him pay? We finally got to the carnival where we saw Petey once again. He was just standing in the middle of the funhouse smiling, as if he'd finally gotten his revenge. We ran to the freak show attraction and we saw the name had been changed to Hall of Revenge. When we walked in, an eerie tune was playing. The first exhibit was the leader of the bullies, Russell. Okay, trigger warning for gore? What? This is also my first time reading this, so... Russell was cut in half. The next was Derby, the leader of the preppies, shown with a gunshot to the chest. Johnny, the greasers' leader. He was shown in a fish tank, supposedly having been drowned. After Johnny was Ted and Ernest, the leaders of the jocks and nerds. They were both in a wrestling ring and were strangling each other to death with the ropes on the sides. And the next one showed Gary, the main antagonist of the game, hung himself. A cutscene began and Petey walked up to Jimmy and said, "They all enjoyed my pain and suffering. They made me do all this to myself. Everyone. Gary, Russell, Derby, Ted, even Ernest, and you. You sat back and watched them torture me to death. Well, now you'll die just like every last one of them, Jimmy." Then he decapitated Jimmy. The screen cut to black and we were kicked to the PlayStation home screen. Me and Drake sat there terrified. We barely got any sleep that night due to horrible nightmares. The next day, I uninstalled the game for a while. We wanted to tell somebody so bad, but they'd think we were crazy. Now it's been 2 years since that night, and I sat here today, thinking that maybe the people Petey killed got what was coming to them. That they put him through so much pain, he finally gave them what they deserve. I still don't know why I was giving this strange update a couple years ago, but I wonder if anybody else experienced what I have. That maybe someone else knows that Petey did in fact make them all pay.